I don't ever want to see my wife hurt. Nobody wants that for their spouse. She still does have some health issues to work through, and we do that together. She is extremely brave and strong and tackles all these doctor's visits like it's second nature to her at this point. She speaks the language. It's pretty amazing to watch her in a doctor's visit, sort of demanding a lot, actually. And like I said, she's speaking the language, getting to the bottom of the reason we're there, and expecting results. I think she probably was taught to have high expectations from your hospital early on. I think we may have been spoiled a bit at the beginning. But my fear is that she won't always get better. And that sounds awful. And I don't mean it like... My fear would be that she would go to the doctor and not come back with positive words.
Jessica and her family welcome a new supporter and friend in their journey. Jessica's husband, talented songwriter Aaron S. Ice. Together, they set out to write a new verse of hopes and dreams. This is St. Jude Flashpoint.
Aaron, the first thing I think about Aaron, he really loves her.
Jess has a lot of supporters and a lot of friends, and she is important to a lot of people, and I think they all have a high standard for the guy that Jessica is with.
For me to trust someone with her life, being her husband, that has to be a really special person.
Not that it was presented to me like a task. I think I put that on myself. There's a high bar for Jessica's boyfriend.
She brings something to the table that the average person has never experienced and will never experience. And if he hadn't have understood that and understood, that she still has some struggles and been willing to be patient. It
was a very big honor for me to be the one that, not only that Jessica chose, but that her family chose.
I wrote him a card. It's really corny, and I have trouble because I lock all of my emotions up still. But I wrote him a card and gave it to him on their wedding day and said, I always prayed that she would find somebody who would take care of her and understand her needs and her challenges and everything that comes with that. And that's him. He understands and he gets it and he's there for her. And he is always so supportive of her, and he's so kind and so humble, and so but that was a really special day because there was a point when I wasn't sure she's going to be there.
Jessica has a really good relationship with her family, obviously, and it's contagious, and they've taught me so much about being open, and they are loud and they'll tell you how they feel. And I love it.
As soon as I found out he was a guitar player, I was every Christmas we're gonna have the Christmas jam, and it's never happened.
As a new member of Jessica's family, and the way that they interact, and the way they know each other, and the way that they have grown from this unique experience that Jessica had as a child, has taught me so much about the bond of a family and relationships, and the strength that a bond can gain through an extremely difficult time. And the openness that they have with each other has taught me so much about connecting with people, and in a way that I don't think that I'd experienced before.
So Jessica definitely would say that I'm kind of a truth talker, and I think she would also admit that when she doesn't want to hear something, but she knows she needs to, she would call me and ask me.
If there was any approval I needed to earn, or anyone's approval I needed to earn, it would have been Jordan's. I'm pretty sure at the beginning Jordan wasn't a huge fan of mine. That took a minute.
Her husband is so steady, so good for her.
I think it's one thing to go on a couple of dates, but if I'm going to be that one that's going to accompany Jessica while she tries to, make her dreams come true, like, I needed to be up to the job. I needed to be a good dude.
He came to my house. He literally asked me, he came and picked me up. I was working on my car. I had to go get my car. And he took me there and he said, I'm going to pick you up in the morning. And I said, because he's in Nashville and I'm in Memphis. And he's going to come to get me. And I'm going, oh, there's something going on here. So anyway, and he literally asked me for Jessica's hand.
I drove to Memphis to ask Jessica's dad's permission to ask her to marry me. And I got up really early in the morning. I had to write that day in Nashville, probably at 11. Would have been 11 a.m. I had to be back in town to write a song. So I got up real early. I think I was probably in Memphis by 7 or so. And I wanted to take her dad to breakfast to ask permission. And we never made it to breakfast. I think we spent so much time in the kitchen. We never really got out the door, and I think I finally got him in my car, and with minutes to spare, I needed to get back to Nashville. We got down to the end of the street, and I said, "Steve, I think you know why I'm here," and he kind of teared up, and I told him that it was an honor to be asking, and I was really proud to be the one to ask. And I wanted to tell our kids that I drove to Memphis to ask her dad. It was important to me, and I think it meant a lot to him.
I'm a musician, so I love that he's a musician, of course.
When I wrote This Is It with Scotty McCreery, I think I'd been married to Jess for maybe a year or so. But it was still fairly recent, and this was before Scotty had proposed to his now wife. So we had a lot to talk about, a lot in common when we were writing the song. And our wedding was still fresh on my mind, so it was actually the lines for that song came pretty easily.
When he turns into his musician person, he's kind of a different character too. But I think they go together really well. He knows that she's going to be very involved in the hospital, and that's not going to be news to him. And she loves the country music life, and she's very connected to the country music life because of the Country Cares part of St. Jude, and so that's a great match. They connect on that level. I guess I'm a musician and he's a musician. She can talk that musician ease, I suppose.
Look, we have a lot of things that are still currently coming up. So he's in the middle of it with me now. Like, he's in the weeds with me, and we're sort of on a health roller coaster together still, and he never gets shaken by it.
I'm still learning what it means to be Jessica's husband, learning what it means to be married to somebody who survived cancer, and still trying to do better and do better for St. Jude. I mean, it's a big part of our life, but it's an exciting, anytime we get the chance to be a part of something with St. Jude, we jump on it. And each year it seems like Jessica and her team come up with a new and exciting event to work on, whether it's the Shirt Saves Lives campaign or something involving music. And so every year we have something new to look forward to. And it's been a journey, it's been a ride, and wouldn't trade it for anything.
He never seems like it's scary, like it's too much. Every single thing that we ever hear from a doctor, he's like, oh, we got this. Like it's never a thing.
My journey with Jessica has caused, I think, a priority shift. part of that is growing up. These dreams of making music, and all of that haven't become secondary, but I've learned that there are more important things in life, and something Jessica says sometimes when I'm maybe stressed out about when I'm losing perspective, Jessica will say, "Get a real problem."
I'm easily shaken now when I hear new diagnoses or, if bad news comes up.
I think at the beginning, when it came to health issues, I was trying to fix things, solve things, and I'm sure that some of my mistakes have been in what I've said at the wrong time. Said the wrong thing and maybe was trying too hard.
If bad news comes up, I sometimes will automatically think, oh, this could be the worst. But he's always like, we could do this. We got this.
Having kids for Jess and I is going to be a fairly challenging experience. And that's something that we're talking about seriously now, but no real plans yet.
Long story short, there are all of these medications at play, and I don't know if pregnancy, I don't know how it plays into that.
The lasting effects of having cancer and being treated for it as a kid, it took its toll on her body, and we're figuring out now if she's going to be strong enough and if that's something that's going to be a realistic possibility for us. But there will be children somehow.
Last week, I asked my rheumatologist that question, and he sort of took a minute, and we talked about all the medications and how I was still really flared up, and he was like, I don't think pregnancy is an option at this point. I was by myself, and it was like a lot to take in, and I didn't really know what to do with that information, so I went home and I just took a nap. During the nap, I had a nightmare that, this is like so symbolic, just a metaphor for my life, that my mom and my sister and I were standing on this like little island, and we have this hammerhead who's like circling the island, and I'm like, Mom, is that a hammerhead gonna come out and get us? And Jordan says like, oh, that's super rare, like that never happens, it's possible, but it's not gonna happen. And in that next moment, the hammerhead is jumping out of the water and it has attacked me, and I am down, like things aren't going well, but my sister's doing CPR, and I wake up.
If Jessica's worried or anxious or has a health challenge, it's the same exact, it's kind of like fight or flight, and you go exactly back to what you know, and that's just that I'm able to be kind of that steady that I know she needed and she still needs.
I think it would be great to be in a place where we didn't have to have these conversations, where we weren't looking for the newest drug because we knew what already worked. It would be great to have solid answers to these diseases, not just cancer, but St. Jude's studying other things, ALS and diabetes and malaria and sickle cell, and I don't know. It's an honor to get to witness what's going on, but I also wish that this work didn't have to exist.
Her life is 100% different, richer, stronger, deeper, more meaningful for having gone through it. All of us, her sister works here too, and because we all feel such a huge responsibility, I think, to the hospital. They saved her life. You saved my sister's life, and so this is where they're meant to be.
I can't imagine being anywhere else, honestly. I feel like every single day I have this grateful heart. Like I just know that there has been I've been offered so many chances, and I've been given another chance at life, and I really feel a lot of pressure to make that life count. And I can't think of anywhere where else that I could do that in my mind to have an impact, more than St. Jude. And, I can only hope that it's, paying it forward and helping, a family who's walking in today to just sort of make their journey a little bit better. So
I'm sure she would probably tell you that she probably wouldn't change a thing. I think it made her who she is.
Now, when I'm back at the hospital, I get really excited to meet families who are in the treatment journey. And I can only hope and pray that they find, inspiration by seeing, what can be like on the other side, like what life can look like.
I just love that she's a survivor, and that she, when she tells the story, when she tells it at St. Jude events, people really respond, and they just love the hospital. As a dad, it makes me really crazy proud.
It's all about the journey. And so if we hadn't have gone through this, the people that we wouldn't have met and the things we wouldn't understand about life, like we've been able to help other people who have had a family member that have been diagnosed with cancer, and like, you're going to be all right. This is what's going to happen, and chemo's no fun, but life is going to go on. We've been able to kind of empathize with people in a different way, because of this experience, and the girls too, and they still, through their jobs, working with patients, current patients, they have a lot of understanding that they bring to the table because they've been there. Yeah, I was 7. I was a sister. I understand what you're going through.
When I think about maybe my purpose to this point, St. Jude is what comes to mind. That has been such an incredible piece of my life. Made me really feel like fulfilled, That fulfills me to be able to do something really good every day and to be fighting for other families who are in the middle of their battle.
I think Jessica probably wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, like I would say it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it's the best and the worst thing, right? If you were gonna ask me those questions.
In the long haul, it was a beautiful thing, and I think both my daughters do great work for the hospital, and I'm just so proud of them.
It has given me perspective. It has given me purpose. It has shown me the beauty in those really dark times, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And to me, it's such an incredible place. I wish that I had just gotten to meet Danny Thomas. There were times when things would happen, and we would just jokingly say things like, well, hello, Danny Thomas, because you just felt like he was over there or something miraculous happened. Just things happen at St. Jude. Miraculous things happen at St. Jude. I don't know how else to say it. And you would just say, well, yes, Danny Thomas was there, So I wish we had gotten a chance to meet him and tell him thank you. Because a normal person starts a hospital that saves the lives of thousands and thousands of children who, he didn't have to do that. He didn't even live in Memphis. He didn't have a child that was sick. It just was put upon his heart to do such a thing.
I was motivated and fueled by looking at the friend on the left and the friend on the right. I always noticed that no matter how bad your day is, or you think it is, when you're looking over here, they're having a worse day. There's always somebody over there who has got it 10 times harder. I really hate that I asked that question, why me? But I did on night number 1. And Miss Gail comes down, and she had lost her leg to cancer. And
she looked at me plain as day and she was like, well, Jessica, why not you? I'm like, is there somebody else better that you have in mind? And it was just so frank and matter of fact, and it was like, yeah, why not me?
I think a badge of honor is a really good way to put it. You know, there are struggles in every life. If you don't have a struggle, you really haven't lived. You know, again, it's about the journey. It's not all about puppies. Everybody has a struggle of some sort. Ours just happened to be this.
Rate, review, and share St. Jude Flashpoint. Learn more, donate, or volunteer at stjude.org. Finding cures, saving children.